Hello.
Hey, looking for a good time, sweet cheeks?
Oh my god.
I thought I would come in and talk about the Sally Rooney novels that I reread recently. So I read Beautiful World, Where Are You when it came out, and I'd already read Normal People and Conversations with Friends. I didn't really like them very much. I made videos talking about them on my channel, but after I read Beautiful World, Where Are You, I didn't really like it very much.
Honest, true tea. Hated it! Not good enough.
After a while, I started thinking more about Normal People and Conversations with Friends, because after reading Beautiful World, Where Are You, I thought maybe the others weren't that bad if I thought this was worse than them. And I remember thinking of the moments of connection between Marion and Connell and just wanting to re-experience them again. So I'm going to talk about those books today. I have my tea in my Winnie the Pooh mug.
Beautiful. Yeah, anyway, cheers, yeah.
So let's get into it, baby.
So what should I start with? I think I'll talk about them in the order I read them, because it's also the order that I read them originally as well. So I read Normal People first. Yeah, I didn't like this book that much when I originally read it, and I think that's because it's been so critically acclaimed and it's made so many prize lists and it's made out to be the millennial novel. And I think if you go in thinking that, you're probably going to be disappointed like I was, because the social issues and opinions of the characters, you know, politics, they're all in the novel, but they're all kind of in the background. And I think if you go in expecting it to deal with those issues head on, that's not what it's doing. With Marion and Connell, you really see how the political atmosphere and the social pressures and social norms, and even like the family expectations and their various class identities kind of dribble down to them and show up in moments that affect how they act. So there's like one moment where I think Connell meets Marion for breakfast somewhere, and I think this is when they're in uni, because Marion is there eating like half a croissant because that's all she eats. Connell says, oh, there's some protest, you know, some women's march or political protest going on. And Marion goes, oh, well, I hope the revolution is swift and quick, or something like that. She doesn't really give her opinion on whether she agrees with it or is against it, or why she isn't there marching. She kind of just nods from the sidelines, you know, almost like cynically. I think this time reading it, because I knew where the relationship was heading, and, you know, I know what happens in the story, I could kind of just relax into the writing more. There's that like golden hour in Normal People where Marion and Connell are living together when they're at university. Both times I've read it, I've thought, oh, why don't you just live together and stay together? Because they're living together in absolute bliss.
Yellow love.
And then Connell is worried that he can't afford to live in Dublin for the summer, or he doesn't want to ask Marion because he thinks he's like too poor to ask a favour from her. Even though really both of them want to live together, their differences get in the way, and the novel also needs drama. So for the novel's sake, oh no, he's not living with her anymore. And then I guess they start dating other people or whatever they do. But really I wanted the novel to end there, because surely if you live together and you really like the person, you would stay with them. But in novels, things can't just be like that. This time, when that happened in Normal People, I wasn't that annoyed, because I was like, okay, I can see why if they hold those views, they would be hypersensitive to those differences. So this time, I was a lot more empathetic to the characters in both of the novels. So I actually enjoyed it very much this time. I wouldn't say either of them are my favourite books, but they're probably books that I'll probably reread again in the future. What else did I also enjoy this time on a reread? I enjoyed the pacing of the chapters, because the chapters aren't just chapter 1, chapter 2. The chapters are November 2014, December 2015. So there's a really fast sense of time where, because she gives herself that structure, Sally Rooney doesn't have to say it's winter now or it's summer now, because you already know that from the chapter title. So there's a hyper-focused sense of detail in the book that I admired. Now, I haven't seen either of the television adaptations of Normal People or Conversations with Friends, so I don't really have anything to say about those. My neighbour, who lives on the ground floor flat of this house, he's Irish, and he's like, what is he, in his 60s at least? And he's seen Normal People and Conversations with Friends, so he kind of feeds back to me about whether he enjoys them or not, and he absolutely loved Normal People, but he doesn't like Conversations with Friends that much. And this time, I think, do I like them equally, actually? I think Normal People has the edge, just because I think the pacing is much better in Normal People, but I did enjoy Conversations with Friends a lot more on this reread. So I think they're sort of equal in their emotional force, but Normal People is more where my heart is. So on to Conversations with Friends. So, I reread this very recently, and I actually enjoyed it way more this time round. I remember last time thinking, oh, Frances is so fucking annoying. Bobby's so annoying. I actually wanted more of Bobby last time. In the end, she kind of just ends up being a side character when you think about it. I remember thinking that Nick is made out to be, oh my god, he's so hot.
Oh, he's so handsome.
But really, I thought, in my opinion, that he probably isn't that hot, and he probably isn't a very good actor. And I actually still think those things. In the book, I felt like the book was trying to make out that Nick looked kind of like, I don't know, Henry Cavill, that sort of thing. But that actually, when I tried to picture it in real life, I bet he looks more like Joe McElderry. Not that Joe McElderry isn't good looking or anything, but both of them have, you know, a very different presence, don't they? Because obviously in Conversations with Friends, Frances is only 21, I think. And, you know, at that age, I think she can still have, like, you know, the blinders on in terms of whether she would give up absolutely everything to be with this person. So last time I just found Frances so annoying, and she just did all these dramatic things just to keep the plot going. But this time, I was actually a little bit more sympathetic to Frances.
Gosh. Gag. Wow.
This time I found Frances more of a humorous figure. Like, there's a part near the beginning where, because Frances is a poet, isn't she, even though we never get to see any of her poetry, and she was sat, I think, writing by the window or something, and she was hitting the return pad whenever she felt like it. And that just made me laugh, and I think it's kind of quite relatable if you're a poet or you like writing poetry, and especially when you're young and you just think, why not use enchantment here? I might as well. With Frances, we never get to see her poetry, but I wonder if her poetry is anything like Sally Rooney's poetry, because I managed to find a rare Sally Rooney poem, and I think I'll link that down below if I can find it. And I also found an early short story version of Normal People, where Marion and Connell are in the car. I think they're going to a hospital or something like that. And so she wrote that before she wrote Normal People. So if you read Normal People and loved it, but you've not read that short story, I'll link that down below if I can find it as well. But yeah, let me know what you think of the Sally Rooney poem. Personally, I reckon Frances's poetry is very much like that. But I'm not sure, I mean, to me, Frances's poetry is kind of a little bit like the Sally Rooney poem. But to me, Frances's poetry is more spoken word poetry that is really shouty and horrible.
All this empty sex was a bad dream I couldn't wait to shake awake from. Each time a man unbuttoned me, I swiftly sewed myself back up. My body, a wound, I was always trying to bandage.
I live for the drama.
And these motherfucking shades. These motherfucking shades. Just for all the motherfucking shade and the shystiness that then went on today, this evening.
But what do you think? This time I felt more of a sense of place in Conversations with Friends than Normal People. I mean, in Normal People you get a little bit of a sense of what Sligo was like, but in Conversations with Friends it's set mainly in Dublin, and I could just imagine skulking around Dublin in a, I don't know, some like horrible plaid skirt, pinching herself, because that's what she likes to do sometimes, isn't it?
You might want to get a tissue.
And I think this time when I read it, I got the sense that Sally Rooney had captured this very intense time that a lot of young people go through when, you know, if they're really, really ambitious and they're smart and they just want absolutely everything and they kind of expect everything, And I think Frances kind of represents that to the full, because it's like she would do anything to get ahead and get what she wants. Frances
Is in it to win it.
I speak my mind. I say it how it is. It's the truth.
like, even though she says that she's, you know, a communist, when she goes to Melissa and Nick's house, she's really describing everything in the house, like, oh my gosh, the doors, the windows, the sofa, the coffee machine. Yeah, the coffee machine I think she describes a lot. Even though she makes out, she and Bobby, they don't care about private property, it should be scrapped. They're communists. Even though they believe that, they still go to, is it somewhere in France they go to? Like a summer property in France this old lady owns. You know, they're still willing to go to that and live the high life. Even though to enjoy those things, it kind of means that they have to let their own view of the world, they have to let that fall in the background a little bit to enjoy those things.
I'm not judging, I'm just judging.
And I think the book captured that sense of when you're young and you expect the world to mirror your own view of it. And I think by the end of the novel, Frances does achieve a sort of growth, doesn't she? Even though I'm pretty sure she's still, you know, a communist by the end of the novel. But she gets success with that story she writes, doesn't she? So her own worldview and the way that is viewed by the world, they kind of mesh together by the end of it. And I like that. I think because now I've read all her books, I was thinking of the way she does depict men and women. It's almost like to be a man in a Sally Rooney novel, you need to have depression, you need to be really good looking, and you need to have loads of women throwing themselves at you, but you fall for these supposedly smart women that are just absolutely, completely, emotionally manipulative control freaks. Although Marion, yeah, I guess Marion is that. But Marion, you know, she has come from an abusive... In fact, both the women come from abusive households, so I can kind of understand why they would be so touchy about the men they date. I don't know, they're like these crawling women who... They do put their opinions out there. They know enough to put themselves in the right places and get ahead, but relationship-wise, they're still really damaged and desperate.
It's a female. All females is nice. They're full of wicked wiles.
So I wonder in Sally Rooney's next novel if the women are going to be so desperate to be loved, or if they'll be a bit more settled in themselves. I doubt that.
I have doubts.
Just a thought. Is there anything else I want to say? You might have also noticed, if you saw my other videos, that I've got nice hardback editions of both of those novels, and that's because last time when I read them, I just got the paperback ones that you can see in Tesco or any supermarket or wherever, and I gave both of them to friends or something. Like, I recommended them to people. So even though I have had issues with Sally Rooney, obviously I thought the books were worth something if I recommended them to people, didn't I?
Your pleas have not fallen upon a heart of stone.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know what I mean? Oh my God.
I do care.
Now I've got nice hardback editions that go well on my shelf next to the hardback of Beautiful World Where Are You? So I'm very happy with the editions I have. But anyway, which has been your favourite of Sally Rooney's books, if you've read her books? But I think out of Sally Rooney's novels so far, Normal People is my favourite, then Conversations with Friends, and then Beautiful World Where Are You is my least favourite. Yeah, thanks for watching, and my next video is going to be some recent releases and then my Sylvia Plath video. Stay tuned for that. Bye!
Bye, bitch.